In part 1 of this series, I reviewed the water problems at this house, one of which was water entry into the family room near the back door during heavy rains. The solution to this water problem is to remove the poured concrete sidewalk, which was believed to be trapping the water and helping guide it to find paths into the house. Once the concrete was cleared, it was time to begin digging the trench which would house the linear French drain. Since the measurements and calculations show that I have more than enough depth at the downspout pipe to meet the minimum 1/8 inch per foot of pipe pitch, I will start at the downspout pipe and work my way toward the back door. Before I cut the existing pipe and install a Y for the tie-in, I dig the start of the trench. I want to be able to lay in the first 10-foot length of pipe to get the alignment right. With the first length of pipe and Y in place over the existing pipe, you can see that the new leg of the French drain will not align with the trench. This will be addressed by adding a small length of pipe off the Y and using a flexible rubber coupling to allow for several degrees of bend. This will enable the pipe to align with the trench. After checking the first section and Y alignment, I cut the pipe, leaving enough to fully seat the Y and get the French drain into alignment with the trench. I fit the Y to the pipe stub. No glue is needed as this is not a sewer connection. Next, I measure and cut the white downspout extension pipe to reduce how much is exposed above ground. I do not know why the original installers left so much exposed, so I will reduce it to make it less noticeable. Here we see the new pipe configuration with less exposed pipe. The small scrap of green Schedule 35 pipe is joined to the rest using a flexible pipe coupler sometimes referred to as a Fernco, which is one brand name. It's kind of like calling a facial tissue a Kleenex. The rule of thumb for drainage is you want at least 1/8 of an inch per foot pitch so the water can drain. Easy way to get that, I found, was I took a 4-foot level. I found a 1/2 inch block. In this case I didn't have a block, so I just grabbed a 3/8 inch quarter drive socket which has an outer diameter of 1/2 inch, and I taped it to the very end of the level. So now if I put this level down and the bubble's in the middle, I'll have 1/8 inch per foot of pitch. The shovel is 7 inches wide. You can see the trench is about 9 inches wide. Good. You want to go about 8 inches at least, so you have room on either side of the pipe. Remember, the stone, the reason for the stone is to give you a porous medium to transfer the water, because it's a lot more porous than this soil. Then the extra volume of water goes into the holes in the pipe, and that takes it away. We're getting close to being able to install the first section of pipe. More digging is needed to ensure the trench is deep enough to house the pipe as well as 1 to 2 inches of stone beneath it. As I dig, I periodically drop in the pipe to check its pitch and depth. I use the level with the blocked end towards the downstream. Bubble in the middle means 1/8 inch per foot of pitch. The laser level and ruler would have been good tools to use here, but I could not see the laser line in bright daylight. There are better and more expensive versions that would have overcome this problem. So between the stone and the soil is this filter fabric. It's kind of a finely woven thin material. It gives you a lot of surface area, so what'll happen is it'll keep the dirt from passing through, but the water will make its way through when it's under pressure. And that's the idea, is it basically is filtering the water so that way only the water goes into the pipe and not the soil, because the soil will eventually clog it. Once the measurements look good, I can begin to install the fabric and stone. To install the fabric, slide it into place under the pipe end. Use wire or large staples like these to hold the fabric against the edges of the trench to keep it out of the way during filling. Add stone to provide a base to the pipe, install the pipe, and check for proper pitch. There are usually 2 sets of holes in perforated pipe. These get biased towards the bottom. Remember that as water flows into the trench, gravity takes it to the bottom. As it fills the spaces in the stone, it will reach the holes in the pipe where it will enter the pipe and be taken away. If the holes are towards the top, the water level has much higher to go before it can enter the pipe. You don't want that. Next, I slide the pipe end into the coupler until it meets the other pipe stub. I center the coupler over the joint, do one final check for hole orientation, and also check pipe pitch with the level. With the coupler centered over the joint between the two pipes, secure it in place with the two clamps. Now that the first joint is secure, I can start filling around the pipe with stone. Now here's a little tip that I learned from a friend of mine who works for a pretty big company that does like highway drainage jobs. They just stand on the pipe. And he calls it chinking it in, based on the sound that the stone makes against the shovel. What you're doing is you're making sure that these stones are locking themselves together very nicely. So when I backfill this, the weight of that soil is not going to press it and push that pipe down, which is now going to drive it out of correct pitch. Or make a bow, and then you're going to have a low spot that's going to collect any sediment that does get into the pipe. Eventually it's going to clog, and the system will fail. Once the first section of pipe is installed and covered with stone, repeat the process with the next section. Yes, that means more digging, level checking, and then installation of fabric, pipe, and stone. The method I found that worked best for me was to dry fit the pipe and check pitch to ensure I had enough soil removed below the pipe to allow for a couple of inches of stone. Once I confirmed I had enough depth, I could install the fabric, tack it in place with garden staples, and commence the dumping of stone. Once all the stone is in place, I could then remove the staples for reuse. Since the trench is relatively narrow, it makes for an awkward workspace. I found that using my feet to spread and tamp the stone worked the best for me. Did I mention it was pretty hot outside? Yeah, this made it that much more fun. Don't forget to check the pitch on the pipe before backfilling. Wiggling and twisting helps to fully seat one section into the next. Now on to section 3. Yep, lather, rinse, repeat. The pipe you see me working around is the electrical conduit for the septic pump. Luckily, it does not interfere with the path of the drain pipe. With the improper pitch of the land, you can also see the trench is noticeably shallower as we approach the deck. Laziness can be the mother of improvisation. I didn't feel like running to get a hammer to push the staples past any stones, so chunks of concrete worked just fine for me. Now that the first 3 sections of pipe are installed, I turn my focus to the area near the back door. I had not yet removed all the soil necessary to make room for the large amount of stone I wanted to install. So let's get to it with a pickaxe and shovel. Can you see how much fun I'm having? Hey, at least I'm getting in some exercise. Using the level and the mark on the wall from where the top of the old sidewalk used to meet it, I check to see if enough soil has been removed to fit the catch basin over a base of some stone. To minimize settling, use a tamper to compact the soil. Yes, it is a good workout, but I will warn you that I developed some tendinitis as a result of this project, with the use of the tamper being my primary suspect. Now that the required amount of soil has been removed and the site tamped, I lay down the bottom layer of filter fabric and trim around the concrete deck footing. In order to prevent the fabric from rolling up, which often leads to lots of colorful language, use anything convenient like pieces of drainage stone, or in my case, small chunks of concrete to weigh down the corners. I try to leave 1 to 2 inches of overlap where possible. Now they say necessity is the mother of invention. Could also be the mother of reuse. So, scrap piece of concrete, old scrap piece of plywood, some of the soil I dug, equals a ramp to be able to get the stone close enough so I can actually dump it. Once most of the stone is in place, I need to set the catch basin into its final position. Using a block of wood and a rod as a guide, I check the height of the catch basin with respect to the door threshold so I can adjust how much stone is under the catch basin. I also adjust the distance of the catch basin to the wall, so it will allow a whole paver to fit, thus avoiding the need to cut that block. I check the distance at both ends to ensure the basin is parallel to the wall. Not too shabby. Once the measurements look good, it is time to backfill around the basin to lock it into place. This is done by pushing stone against the basin and then adding the rest of the stone to the site. Sandy check. Since the catch basin is so light, I didn't want it to get moved accidentally, so I opted to put a couple of blocks on top of it to weigh it down and keep it more secure while I move the remainder of the stone into place. Yep, you guessed it. More shoveling. And more tamping. In order to give me flexibility to move the catch basin and pipe around, I had left the third section only partially backfilled. So now that the section near the back door is done and the catch basin is installed, I go back and fill in the stone around the third section. We're just about done. The final steps are to add a layer of fabric over the stone and backfill to the correct final ground level with soil. Again, tamping helps reduce settling. Well, thanks so much for watching. This concludes the installation of the French drain. I hope you got some good tips and tricks out of watching this video so that if you have to do a project similar, you'll be able to learn from what I did and know what works for you, what doesn't work for you. All in all, I'm going to consider this project a success. It was installed about the beginning of September. In the end of September, there was a pretty good rainstorm that hit the area with about 4 inches of rain in a 24-hour period. There's actually a river flowing down the backyard, including about 2 inches of standing water in some areas. You can see here the water was actually flowing down the driveway, and the output pipe of the French drain system, the entire French drain system, was dumping huge amounts of water into the street storm drain. Throughout all this, including a couple of other storms that dumped about 3/4 of an inch at a time, the back door area has remained dry. So I will definitely consider that this system is working and doing what it's supposed to be doing. So thank you so much for watching. If you like what you see, you want to see more videos, hit that subscribe button down at the corner here, and I will send you more videos as I produce them. If you have any suggestions as to other things you'd like to see me do, throw a comment down below, and I think that'll do it for now. Thank you so much again. This is Par 64 Guy. See you later.